Hello everybody. So even if my hair is totally messed up, and who cares, because it's not a beauty contest. Yeah, I'm sitting here on top of the valley, Silicon Valley, and as you can see, it's super nice here in the Bay Area, and back there is Stanford University. You might see the moon coming up, full moon here. It's crazy. And then along the coast here, where you see also a lot of wasteland behind those green hills, right? But this way there is San Francisco. So anyways, but what I wanted to talk about today is actually Texas, even if I'm here in Cali, back in Cali. But as you know, I lived for many years also in Texas, 2 years in Dallas, another 2 years in Austin. Both locations I loved and still love Texas a lot. I just love it there, it's amazing. And I just wanted to let you know a few big advantages and maybe some disadvantages, but also reality check if you decide you want to go to Texas and you want to immigrate there and move there. So first of all, what I really liked in Texas was the culture, the mentality. The Texas accent is very unique, of course, but what I truly enjoyed is at night, I would say definitely like all the beautiful country music. I like that stuff, and you have a lot of farms or like real cowboys, and Texas, not just the famous Texas Rangers, but you also have ranches out there, and like, you can go to the countryside and it's huge. I mean, even so, when you look here, on the hills here in Cali, I have to say, I mean, as beautiful as it is, but it's not as big as Texas. And it's true, everything is bigger in Texas. It's gigantic. I mean, seriously, if you haven't been there, like, it's really gigantic. And all I can say is that, first of all, Texas barbecue is amazing. I really love that. My kids love it, and you can check it out on my blog if you haven't seen it yet. And also see like what we have been killing all the time. A typical Texas barbecue is amazing. And what else can I say? Yeah, there's so much to say. Like, you can check out, I lived in Dallas for over 2 years, close to downtown, and many years later I moved actually back to Austin, Texas, which was really super cool. And I have my apartment there, like in downtown. And while I had that, because of the better public schools, I also was then getting a house outside of Austin, but not too far away, like maybe a 30-minute ride. But that was definitely worth it because also of the better public school systems. And maybe that's something, you want to understand, that the law in Texas is very, how do you want to say that? Like, I mean, like in terms of carrying weapons and guns and everything, this is where Texas is truly one of the states where everybody, you can see it, they have weapons. Man, they just go to the grocery store and they have weapons, And unfortunately, what comes with this is also, you have to understand that there are a lot of school shootings in Texas. And I just looked up the data for this year, and I have to say it's not as bad as here in California. And California is actually leading with the school shootings, which drives me nuts. You might not believe it, but it is a fact. And if you haven't been living in LA, and so it can be very dense. But Texas, of course, the public school systems, that's why I also moved outside. I kept my apartment in downtown, but moved outside for my boys, especially Jules. And you also, maybe if you're moving with your kids, you need to get used to, or especially your kids, that the public schools have very high security systems because of all that. They have private security, You see everywhere cops all the time, starting from the morning till school ends and whatever. And I think also, unfortunately, the biggest school shooting disaster happened in Texas. So it was also, I think it was Santa Fe the last time, really, really bad. And you have, of course, like standard security checks on the kids' backpacks, metal detectors, and all this kind of stuff. So you kind of need to understand that if you're moving to Texas, which I'm trying to explain to you, like move if you have kids into an area where the school district, the school grades are actually really, really good. So that was one major reason. And once you lived in the United States, in all those different states, you understand what it actually means. So at the beginning, you might not clearly understand this because the contrast to Europe is big. It is massive. Okay, so you cannot really compare that. So I'm super proud about my boys because, like moving to all the different states all the time and adopting and checking out different schools. It's not as easy as an immigrant, trust me. But that's why I'm super proud about my kids. My boys have been doing fantastic, and makes me really proud. So, besides that, I can clearly tell you there is one phrase, and it's called "Don't mess with Texas." And it's true. So I can tell you that they rule, police, and so they rule much more strict. And you also have in Texas still the death penalty. So it's also what you want to consider. So you don't want to drive and be drunk or whatever, and then even if it's an accident and you didn't want to kill someone, but let's say you're drunk and an accident happens, dude, like, you have a serious fucking problem, So I would say follow the rules when you're in Texas. Don't mess with Texas and enjoy life. That's very, very clear to say. Look here, another view down to the valley. I really like it here. Like, you have all those different trails. Oh, here's another view. Like, this is the way to San Francisco. And from the temperature, it's literally every day the same. It's really very consistent. Look at this. There's an eagle up there, I guess. No, it's not. What is that? I don't know. I'm not a bird expert. I'm more like a margarita expert. But, what can I tell you? Like, weather conditions, it's always very consistent. And I can also say, like, here in California right now, if you love like the blue sky consistently, like I do, but I also have to say, like, after a year or 12 months, like having every day blue sky and sunshine, you feel like, now it would be cool if it's snowing or if it's raining. Trust me, like, I never thought about this, but when you have everything all the time, every day, like you wanted it, then you want to change, right? It's so weird, but it is what it is. But look at this view, right? Isn't this nice? And you have everywhere those nice trails. Yeah, and this is definitely like the scenery when you go also into all the suburbs in LA or whatever. You drive down the coast to the south. This is the typical California, I would say, like, environment. Okay, so when you leave the Green Valley, this goes either way up north, Napa Valley and whatever, or down south to Los Angeles. You see also on the other side, like, wasteland starts. And when you're driving, and let's say you're coming also from inside, of course, not from the ocean, but when you're driving here, you will see a lot of wasteland. Also, Texas has a lot of wasteland. And maybe Texas, because I also wanted to give you some, like, I don't know, insights about Texas. is definitely that it's so big and you have everything. So it can be super freaking cold, you can have snow, it can be super hot. You have a lot of farmland. It's another big advantage. What I love about Texas compared here in California, it's much, much more affordable. So this is very, very important. For example, if you would like to move to California and if you would like to buy here any property, it is hard to find any house here under 1 million minimum, and then going up like 150 million. Average, I would say already 10 million bucks you need in order to settle here in the Bay Area. Keep in mind it's Silicon Valley. It's very, very pricey. It's super expensive. But the good news is when you live here, there is almost, I would say, zero poverty. You don't see any homeless people, any crackheads, any bigger issues with drugs, and so on. So it's, you don't have any crazy shootings and all this kind of stuff, which if you go to LA and you don't know the pockets, you will see huge, big difference. Okay, so that's of course very, very interesting. And now coming back to Texas, what I'm trying to explain is also why it's so much more affordable. When you look here, and of course the Bay Area, everything is like freaking expensive. Property, the property price is like intense. You need millions in your pockets in order to buy something. It starts with an apartment. Let's say you would like to have a studio. Where I currently live in downtown Redwood City or whatever, studio or Woodside area, all this area. A simple studio starts at $1 million. If you're lucky, you can get one. And it's very tiny. It has maybe 50, 60 quadratmeter, like in German measurement. And property tax on the studio, so you pay just tax as well here in California. It's pretty high. It's up, I would say, when I spoke last week with the realtor, like $1,000 a month. So that means you buy the property, you have an apartment, but then you still pay every month $1,000 on tax so that you own it. Okay, so that's kind of like what you have to understand. Now, when you compare this to many other states like Texas, but I'm trying to talk about then other states because nobody talks about it. When you listen to immigrants, and especially Germany, Austria, everybody says like, oh, I need to go to California, I need to go to Florida, right? Those are the two top kind of like states everybody wants to move to. But I can assure you, once you move to the United States, you actually will figure out there are so many other nice states you want to live. I loved it. Like, for instance, North Carolina, South Carolina, Arkansas. Beautiful, amazing, and affordable. And Texas is still very, very affordable, I have to say so. Another big benefit about living in Texas is they have no state income tax. That's wonderful. So that means you only have federal income tax and no state income tax. California has, of course, super high California state income tax on top of the high federal tax. Still not as bad as in Germany or in Austria, but still for the US, it's kind of like rough. And that's why a lot of people in California, we are speaking now here in 2021 about the big exodus. That means a lot of people leaving California because it's crushing them. The real estate market, the prices, it's insane for them. So they're leaving, right? So when everybody was moving and leaving, I actually decided to move back because I always go against the flow. And I'm benefiting from it right now tremendously. The reason why is because rent went down and because everybody left and the pandemic hit, and I felt like this is a great opportunity. It's always the same when immigrants saying they would like to move to the United States, and then all the immigration lawyers say, oh, we can't do anything right now because we have the pandemic. That's a big mistake. big mistake. That's the best opportunity you have right now, because you have to understand nobody is going to do something. Nobody is filing for applications. Nobody is filing for any visa categories and forms. Think about it. And I mentioned this many, many times for immigrants who would like to move to the United States quickly and fast. That now, and especially when the whole pandemic started, this was the best time ever. But anyways, you can find more about this on my homepage, of course, either gousa.life with VLIVE and or like gousa.site from a German speaking audience. And yeah, what else to say? So Texas is still amazing because you get a lot for your money. Like, you know, here for $1 million I get a small studio. For $1 million in Texas I get a mansion. I get like a big freaking house, 6-bedroom, 5 bathrooms or whatever. But I have to say also property tax increased unfortunately in Texas, so that's the thing. And if you compare it to other states like North Carolina, beautiful, amazing. Arkansas, amazing, and amazingly affordable. So trust me, as an immigrant, I can tell you that if you are moving to the United States and you haven't seen those other states, you're missing out. You're definitely missing out. But again, I'm talking about like it really depends on your purpose, why you want to move, why you want to live here and there. And as I said, I lived in so many different states. I lived in Seattle, I lived in Portland, cities of course, or states like Washington, Oregon, here in California, down in Manhattan Beach, in Venice Beach in LA, now here up in Silicon Valley. But I lived in Texas, in Dallas, in Austin. I was in North Carolina, in Charlotte. I lived in South Carolina, in Charleston, in Georgia, in Savannah. I was up in Detroit, in Michigan. I didn't like it. Miami, Florida, and so on. The list goes on. And you know, you have your purpose. I would say, like, you kind of like, it really depends what you like, but also what your job is, what you like to do. And since I'm in the tech industry, and I have some bigger clients here, I decided I move my butt back here. For how long? I don't know, I can't say. Usually after 12 months, after a year, I feel like, it's time to move again. People heard me talking lately a lot about Puerto Rico, which everybody says, is this the United States? Yeah, it is the United States. It belongs to the United States. It's amazing. And Hawaii. So those are my 2 next probably sweet spots I might want to check out and live. And it's so weird because I just moved from an island, right? I just moved 8 freaking weeks ago from Sullivan's Island. I love it. Just that. I love it there. Like Sullivan's Island, South Carolina, the south of the US. Amazing. But anyways, so coming back to Texas, a lot of cool stuff, you know, whatever you would like to do in Texas. I can only say it's so big. There is a lot of stuff to check out. It's amazing. I'm a big fan from Texas. And I mean, as you know, I love the United States in general. You know, I have my sweet spots, of course, and I have some spots where I feel like, no, this is no. But so far I only can say, like, even New York, I like New York, and so, but like Detroit, no, not even. I don't know, for 10 million bucks you can get me back to Detroit area, up to Michigan. And then it's funny because some people, for example, they said, I want to move to Chicago. And I don't know if you've ever checked out Chicago, but it's a tough concrete. Very rough, tough. Also, what I usually consider then is not just weather condition, it's not just crime rate, etc. It's also, of course, business related. But you know, as older you get, I think, as you know, I have been moving to the United States like now since 15 years ago, something like this. As more I feel like staying away from the big cities and enjoying it like more outside. I mean, there is nothing nicer than having everything here, living outside of the big cities, and you have everything. I mean, what I really want to say is it doesn't matter if it's Texas, if it's California, if it's North Carolina, you have so much convenience, because you have all the stores. It's like right here where I live, I have literally in Redwood City, I don't know, I have like 50 different restaurants right in front of my door. So that means I have all my chefs. You know, if you haven't seen where I live right now, I have my swimming pool, I have my jacuzzi, I have my pool billiard, I have my gym, I have my bars. It's like you have really literally fucking everything, and still then you're not satisfied, like me. It's like, fuck, what the fuck is wrong with you, Bernard? But it's true. It's like if you have, I don't know, let's say you like Coca-Cola and every day you get Coca-Cola, and you drink Coca-Cola. One day you feel like, okay, I got my Coke. And that's it. And then you don't enjoy it anymore, you know? So it's weird. It's really strange. But maybe that's also why when you follow my channel and what I'm exploring in the United States, maybe that's the main reason why I travel so much, because I feel it's great for me, not for everyone, right? But for me, I feel like it's nice if you can explore so much from this planet, you know? Seriously, like, especially the US, it's the whole continent is so big. And I mean, when you think about it, what you can explore, you can be in Alaska, go bear hunting, the last frontier. I mean, really amazing. Like, I also like have this somehow like on my checklist. Like one day I feel like, that would be cool. Haven't been doing it yet, but so because you have all those crazy opportunities, right? And when you think about it, this is what I love so much about the US. You can live on the beach, you can live in the mountains, you can be in Alaska, you can live in a big city, like high-tech stuff, but you can go to the countryside, you can live like a farmer if you like horses or a bunch of animals. And you know, you can make a living somehow. You're gonna survive. It's not as I want to say that? I mean, it's so much more spacious than Europe, right? In Europe, we just don't have that space. That's the thing as well. And if you don't have this space and everything is more narrow, like, yeah, I mean, you can't expand like that. And then another issue is, you know, I don't know if you guys realize this, but I love, for example, France, South France. And I always said, even to my boys, one day I want to go back, I want to move back to Europe and probably live in South France. And everybody like, oh, Dad, you're crazy, whatever. But the reason why it's so difficult when you're German or whatever to move inside of the European Union to another country is the language barrier. This is what unites you in the United States, because no matter what, everybody tries to speak English, even if my English sucks, right? But we communicate in English, and so you can work. When you move, for example, as a German or Austrian, let's say to Spain or let's say to France, you better speak French, because if you don't speak French, you got a serious problem. And if you don't understand this language, how can you perform at your job, right? It's kind of like really difficult. Oh, by the way, that's the city of San Carlos. Okay. So, Yeah, and that's what I wanted to let you know. And this, I think, is also as an immigrant to the United States, I would say, of course, very, very important to understand this. And it's an advantage because a lot of people also feel like, oh my God, my English, I don't speak so good English or whatever. Trust me, that's not a problem. As long as you have the willingness to speak English and to learn the language, you don't need to worry about that at all. Because, I mean, look at my English. I still suck in English, but I can get my cheeseburger and my French fry. So, you know, yeah, like I said, and that's definitely something you need to consider in Europe. So you have those barriers and obstacles in Europe, which I believe are even harder. It's tougher. It's I would say not as easy as actually here. Yeah, so that's it, I would say. What I wanted to let you know, a quick session for like a little bit about Texas, a little bit here in California, because I'm back in Cali compared to other states. I call out a few things, especially in Texas. What do you want to consider? Pricing, cost of living, huge opportunities there as well. I also wanted to mention one thing. Big tech companies are moving more and more to Texas, also Austin area, especially Austin area. Tech companies, game companies, Elon Musk and Tesla and all this kind of stuff, they're all going Texas. So that's maybe also a bonus what you want to consider. And yeah, I'm trying to talk about some other states in the near future. And we'll upload a little bit and show you around what you can do and where I'm going. Yeah, and you can follow me on my IG account and on my YouTube. And whatever, you can send me a tweet. And of course, you can also send me a text message. And you can go to my website and follow all my other stuff. And yeah, and if you want to immigrate to the United States, and if you want to work and live here or find a job and you don't know how to do that, then all I can tell you, watch my freaking webinar. It's a 1-hour video in which I explain really step by step how I did it, how simple actually you can do it if you really understand what moves the needle and you follow a procedure that brings you and moves you quickly to the United States, right? I mean, that's of course important. All right. Well, folks, I would say enough talk, and talk to you later. Adios, muchachos, and take care. Bye-bye.